he already gave up that information to the police. Oh, that trickster son of a bitch. Oh, okay. Okay. Whew. Okay, end of the episode. He already gave up that information. About Arlene. Okay. Well, I guess that was his way of making sure that Hannah understood. I mean, I figure had the deal gone his way, I feel like he would have told her. He would have told her afterwards. Like, he'd been like, because initially she said no. So that was the punishment. Okay, I give out the information. Then he was like, okay, thank you for giving me the money, but just so you know, I already gave out the information. So now, if and when I ever come back to you again asking for more money, you know better than to say no the first time around. You better say yes and just give me what I want. Otherwise, I keep, handing over information. So they know it. Oh god. So now Hannah's gonna go down. Because I think Arlene, like, she's a roommate. She was a former roommate. I think there's no kind of establishment that states that she was ever a friend. She was a witness to the murder. So she clearly saw another girl killing a counselor, or causing the death of one at least. So yeah, there's no kind of, emotional or, social kind of obligation that Arlene still holds to Hannah to protect her, so she's probably more than happy to give away that information if it puts away a killer. But yeah, damn. Okay, so yeah, the phantom arsonist. So that stuff was wrapped up nice and neatly. Yeah, just a few, like a 2, maybe 3 episode arc. Just that. I mean, well, 2 episode arc because it started in the last one. I think it was like 2 murders in one, and then in this one they said there were like 5 bobbies in 1 week, in 2 weeks or something. So there's like been a bunch of them. But yeah, just all wrapped up nicely in two episodes. Phantom Assault. So it was nothing complex, just a guy who was blaming his childhood friend, who coaxed him into murders, coerced him into murders, and even growing into adulthood, he still blamed Bobby for it. So nothing super complex there, just a simple kind of run of the mill arsonist murderer. But yeah, I think they had a nice red herring with the with the other arson investigator, but he just turned out to be like a weird dude. He just had like a lack of social skills and a really creepy kind of demeanor. He wasn't actually the arsonist himself. So that's Joseph Jensen was the Phantom, so that got wrapped up nicely. I would have liked to see more of him, like him actually being spread out as like an actual season arc, but I guess maybe they didn't have enough like motivation to actually push him into being that, or maybe he just didn't like the idea of it didn't really seem like good enough or cool enough. But yeah, he was the Phantom Arsonist. Clint McKay, Hannah's father. So we'd heard stories about him from Hannah that he was abusive towards her and that he threw in the pool and didn't let the mother take her out and it took a stranger to save her. But I don't think we'd actually meet him. Not only that, I don't think we'd actually see him being played by Jim Beaver. So yeah, me being the SPN junkie that I am, I almost immediately recognize him as Bobby Singer from Supernatural, and in that one, believe me, in that one, he is nothing short of a hero. He's very much a hero. He saves the world and helps save the world multiple times. So he's nothing like the abusive dickbag we see in this show. But I think again, that's for just nothing more than a testament to Jim Beaver as an actor himself. In one show he plays the absolute testament of all heroes, and in this show he just he plays a guy that makes you absolutely fucking hate him. So testament to his actual acting ability. So. Yeah, and I think this show ended in like 2014 or 15, right? I think so, and like around that time. So I think that would have been around the time he maybe died on Supernatural. Spoilers for his spoilers for his thing on Supernatural for those of you who haven't seen it. But when his character arc ended on Supernatural, I think he could have played Clint on here. I don't know what the time frame is, but regardless, but yeah, so he was the second Bobby on here. But he never really changed. I had a feeling that the apology coming from him wasn't exactly the most sincere of apologies. That he actually had an ulterior motive, and the apology was just a way of softening up Hannah, just making her feel like she could really help him and get things back together with him. But in reality, no crawfish. That was all bullshit. It was just he was just stacked up in loads of gambling debt, and needed Hannah, the kid he left alone for 3 days, to help him pay it off, or at least just pay it off for him. Even just give him the money so he could hand it over. But yeah, so he had never really changed, and even worse than that. I mean, he his they showed it off in they showed it off in phases. At first, it's his annoyance at the fact that that she won't give him the money to help him with his crawfish thing, and the fact that he keeps pressing her for it, this kind of thing. Now, surely surely flowers don't pay that much. For flowers bring in more money than you're saying. Surely you got a little bit of wiggle room in there. That was the first one. And then finally, when he crashes his car into the greenhouse, that was completely on purpose. The moment she said that the flower business was the reason she couldn't pay him, he's like, well, if I take out the flower business, then you got no business, the money left over. And it's it makes no sense because sure, because his gambling debt, surely, the way he was going about it by the end of it, surely he would come back each time he needed more money on the threat of releasing that information to the police. So surely, if he takes out the greenhouse, she has no business left. She has nothing. She has nowhere left for any income to come in. So she has more money left to give him. But obviously, it was anger. He was acting out of anger. He was lashing out at her, taking out the one thing keeping her from giving him any money. Well, the two things keeping her from giving him money. She even said at the end she doesn't want to help him because she can't let go. She cannot let go. The more she saw him angry, the more she realized that she can't really let go of the way he raised her, the way he treated her. And the ways that he made her feel, so she can't really let go of that, and she can't forget what he did to her. So he starts getting even more abusive, and he even blames her for her mother's death. She said her mother died of a broken heart after news of the Wayne Randall spree came up. So he kind of frames her for that, and also for his own kind of in infamous kind of presence in the world, like him being the father of Hannah McKay, the girl who ran away with a serial killer. So he had been giving up information to the police all along. The information about all the information that most, if not all of the information that Sal had in his books on Hannah was given to him by Clint. So Clint had been giving him information long before he came back into Hannah's life. So that is just a whole other level of fucked up, that he was just getting back at Hannah for all that stuff. So yeah, but then the final straw, he actually gave up the information about Arlene to the police already. So yeah, I think I definitely see that as more of a punishment for her having said no the first time. But then he just still wanted the money anyway. So yeah, just a dick bag all round. But it was fun to see Jim Beaver in this, and seeing him in something different. He definitely pulled off this role flawlessly. Definitely made me hate him, which is the whole point. Definitely made me hate him. So hats off to him. But yeah, he killed Clint by the end. And it makes more sense that Dex killed Clint by the end too. He actually Dex was an unofficial case. He wasn't being investigated for child abuse or anything like that. He was just like a run of the mill average Joe, but Joseph Jensen, he was an actual person being investigated by the police, so he couldn't take that case from Deb. So he decided to kill Clint instead, so it makes sense. And George is dead. George did not last very long. George didn't last very long. He caught a bullet the second he hit Hannah, the second he hit Nadia a second time. But he was definitely going too far with the whole Nadia stuff and the whole Quinn stuff. He just wasn't really backing down, so I think he kind of brought that on himself. But Batista caught on to that case immediately. He noticed that there was like a time lag, because I think the first shot went off, right, and then he the bodyguard he was with makes a run for it, goes to see what happens, and then Batista has to tackle him down and grab the gun and protect that too. And then he's keeping track of time. He notices that there's at least a good 5-6 seconds of delay between the first shot and the second. So according to Quinn's story, that means that would mean that so he said that George shot him, and then in those 5 seconds, I mean, he did say that in that time, George was too busy beating the crap out of Nadia to keep her down, and before he actually pulled a gun out on Joey. And we know that she's got the marks to prove it. He did actually hit Nadia a few times before Quinn shot him, so she does have the bruises and stuff to prove that, he did hit her. But then after that, he pulled around and did that. So smart plan, on the spot thinking of you just getting Nadi to shoot him in the arm. So he had good aim as well. But George is gone. George is dead. So that's the whole Koshka stuff over and done with. I think it's the ending. I think the way it ended with Isaac and George, I think it's just all just a little bit too quickly wrapped up. Like it's felt like they can't really be bothered anymore. And like George, they focused on him being the antagonist a lot more now, given all that went down. So yeah, very kind of evil guy ending for him. And off to the other stuff of the episode. Dexter's Dark Passenger as investigated by Hannah McKay. So, I think it's interesting how they went about this, like, especially Hannah questioning it and then Harry questioning it. Like, Harry saying that he never gave Dexter the Dark Passenger. He gave him the code. He identified Dexter's need to kill, and he gave him a way to live with it without being caught. So, but then Dexter was the one. I think it makes more sense that Dexter is definitely the one to label the Dark Passenger. I think the Dark Passenger, like, it's like a personification of his inner demons, and that's not ever something that Harry would do. Harry would only ever give him a means and like a way of thinking that would allow him to protect himself and to keep himself safe, and to help keep the people around him safe as well by not involving too many people and by keeping it to himself. Not even involving Deborah, but then that happened anyway. But he gave him a means to protect himself, but he never enabled him or allowed him to personify his thing. And I mean, he said that he remembered Dexter having mentioned these thoughts when he was like 12, but he never thought too much of it because he was just a kid, so he could have just been talking about anything. But I mean, it makes sense because I think, again, Dexter is not a normal person. He is a serial killer. Legally speaking, he's a serial killer, but even humanely speaking and mentally speaking, he's a broken person. He came out of that containment thing, that storage unit, a broken child. He came out of that a broken child, like a bird with a broken wing. So it would make sense that from then on he would try and come up with something to identify how he's feeling. He would try and come up with some kind of phrase or some words to identify how he's feeling. And his psyche was cracked open with that. It wasn't like he could cover his eyes. He was literally forced to watch as his mother was chopped apart with a chainsaw by Santos Jimenez. So, him watching that, and also not just that, but also him, like, I don't know if they actually took the body away. I don't know if they took the body parts away, because I think the blood was all still in there. The blood from the chopping was in there, and I think that much blood would come from the continuous bleeding of the body parts as they were left in there. So if they took the blood away, there would be like a finite amount of blood, but the amount of blood that was in there, the entire place was covered in blood. Like, there was nothing of the original colour of the walls left. Him and Brian were covered in blood, and he was sitting in a puddle of blood. So that much blood, I don't think it would be there if they had taken the body parts away. If they left the body parts in there, the blood would continue to flow out between the muscle and the all the other body parts. So then, not only would he have been forced to watch as his mother was killed, he'd be forced to look at what's left of her remains, and then that would traumatize him even more for the days to come. So again, his psyche was slowly just ripped apart and left open like a gaping wound that just let the inner demons in. And then obviously he killed Jimenez for revenge. He very much killed Jimenez for revenge. And that need for revenge kind of like was like a hidden desire within him, but also his need to kill people. It just kind of left him with that kind of thirst for blood, like him seeing someone else kill someone left him with the same thirst for blood. Like his need for vengeance was what powered it, and then gave him that desire to see blood and to produce blood and to kill other people. But then, growing up, I think it was definitely, growing up, I think it's fair to say that Harry's code is what saved him from becoming an actual monster. Harry's code saved him from being a monster. Harry taught him that there were bad people in the world, and that there was badness. And that stopped him from becoming the worst of the bandits. He's still bad because he's still a serial killer, but Harry's code enabled him to identify the good from the bad and the right from the wrong, the people who deserve to be killed. That's what Harry taught him. So that's what gave birth to his kind of conscience, and his Dark Passenger is powered by that morality. Him identifying the need that I think it's why he has such a soft spot for kids, because he had his childhood and his life ripped away from him at that moment, and in the space of those few days. Or however long it was, I don't even know if it was days or weeks, but it's powered by that morality, and he's able to identify other people, other monsters. He knows he himself is a monster because of what he's done and what he's capable of doing, but he also identifies that there are other people out there doing the same thing to other people that he had done to him. So he's saving other people from the pain that he suffered. But yeah, so now though, I think with Hannah mentioning that, like, there's no need to come up with it because, he doesn't have to do it, he chooses to. I think by the end of the episode he actually does identify that with Clint, and with Joseph Jensen, especially him saying, like, you can't keep blaming something that happened to you in childhood. You've grown now, you're an adult, you've matured, surely, so you're able to identify the real problem and tackle that instead. But no, you just keep blaming something that happened to you when you were a child. So, with Dexter, that's like a knife through his own heart of, like, hypocrisy, being like, wait, I've been doing this because of what happened to me as a child. I've been blaming what happened to me as a child. Like, that's the dark passenger. It's what was birthed in that puddle in that pool of blood. So then by the end with Clint, he finally accepts that, no, I don't have to do this, but I want to. I think that at its core is the dark passenger. The code is what keeps him sane and what keeps him from killing the wrong people and keeps him killing the right people. But the dark passenger is what drives him to kill. It's that need to kill, the need to actually end other life because of what he's seen, what he's had taken away from him. So yeah, it's that. So he is the right now. He's more in charge. He's much more in charge now. When he was a kid, it was more like an urge that he couldn't control. But with the code now, given that now he's actually with the code, he came up with a way to do it. It was almost ritualistic. Like, he scopes out his victims, he studies them, how they live, how they move, and then he goes after them. He chops them up and he gets rid of them. He keeps himself immaculate. He keeps the place clean. Takes away any evidence, so he actually keeps it in a way that keeps him from getting caught. That's the code, of course, but it's how he, keeps himself able to do it. If he was caught, he wouldn't be able to do it anymore. So, yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm pretty sure he'd be eligible for the death penalty, like, given how many people he's killed. I mean, I don't know what the requirement is for that, but I'm pretty sure he'd be somewhat eligible for the death penalty or something, but I don't know. We saw Maria and Thompson, or the thingy, Matthews even, or Thompson Matthews, we saw them investigating more of the place where Dokes actually died and the whole Santos Jimenez guy. So they're putting the pieces together, and Maria especially is putting the pieces together, being like, this guy killed Laura Moser. Okay, she was the mother of Dexter Morgan, and he disappeared. Like, the Santos guy, he disappeared, and he disappeared. No one would have more motive to kill him than Dexter would. Dokes probably couldn't kill us. He'd probably see him as a killer, and if Dokes came across him, he would have him arrested on murder. He would have him arrested and hand him into the law. But Dexter, having lost someone so close to him at this guy's hands, he would be more inclined to want to kill him, preferably the same way he killed his mother too, which he did. So, the way she's putting these pieces together, by the end of the season, she's gonna have Dexter in handcuffs. I'm calling it. She's gonna have Dexter in handcuffs by the end of the season. So, yeah, she's getting closer, and like, especially Thompson himself. I think Thompson doesn't want to believe it. He sees all the pieces that Maria is putting together, but he doesn't want to believe it. That's the difference. He doesn't want to believe it, and he knows that, if he goes to Dexter, he's going to be less inclined to arrest him on the spot and arrest him out of anger or something. He knew him since he was a kid. He worked with Harry. He knows Deborah. He knows that stuff. I mean, he's had some recent beef with Deborah, but he knows Harry. He worked with him. He knew Dexter since he was a kid, so he can talk to him a bit more easily. And Dexter's going to deny everything, of course, so it's going to make it even harder for, or maybe easier for Matthews to accept it or deny it. But yeah, but Maria is right in there. She knows all this stuff. She's putting it all together. So yeah, I do not anticipate good stuff coming out of this, but we'll see. We shall see. But yeah, that is pretty much all I have on this. It was a fun episode. Good to see a father reveal from Clint McKay, and good to see Hannah she didn't really tackle much. She just had to actually suffer a lot of abuse and more kind of backlash from her father, so it wasn't very fun to see that, but good to see that Dexter took care of that kind of abusive father problem for her, and that she will never have to face him ever again. So good to see that. I think the other stuff was wrapped up nicely, so just a fun, dramatic episode, a heavily dramatic episode, but yeah, that is pretty much all I have from this episode, so hope you guys enjoyed it. Coming up close to the end of the season, and then it's the final season, so anxious to see what's going to happen, anxious to see how it all goes down, but yeah, that is it for this one. So that was Dexter, Season 7, Episode 10, titled The Dark, whatever. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like button. Comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think is coming up next in this season. And the uncut reaction will be available on Patreon, so feel free to go check it out. I can't even talk anymore. But yeah, that is it. So I will see you guys next time.